It's Friday, April 24th, and you're watching the Hammer Daily here on the Hammer Betting Network, presented by our good friends over at FanDuel. I'm your host, Jason Cooper, alongside my producer for the next hour and a bit, Mike Bennett, working his way behind the boards, keeping things in check. Notable Green Bay Packers fan, back-to-back shows, wearing a Vikings hat and a Raiders hat. What? That is what it is. We got a loaded show for you today. Can't wait to get into it. We got G-Stack George coming on at 12:05 to talk some NFL draft, react to round one. Talk a little bit more about day two, though. I think that's where the fun is going to be here. We're going to break down sort of the next 10 picks, who's likely to go where. There's a ton of draft markets still open on FanDuel. We're going to be hitting most of those with G-Stack. And if we have a little bit of time left over, we're going to talk some UFL. After that, Bo Bortolucci, my white whale, my Moby Dick. Been waiting to get this guy on the show for literally the entire year. I was a little sad when he came on the extravaganza, but happy that he's coming on for this one. I'm excited to get into some awards talks with him. You know how good he is as a futures bettor. Some awards markets for the MLB, notably Cy Young and Rookie of the Year. And then the NHL, he wants to talk a little bit about the Conn Smythe, and he sent me the Conn Smythe. And I can see where he's coming from for the Conn Smythe Award, who he likes. You're going to want to stick around to see who it is. But him and I might be going head to head on this. I don't think it's that great of a bet, but he likes it. That's the most important thing. I'll push back on it. We'll talk about all that and more. But before we get into all that, I'm sorry. What the Steelers did last night was absolutely and utterly embarrassing. It's embarrassing. You call a guy before your pick is in, Makai Lemon. You're on the phone with him. You're saying, hey, you're a Steeler. Why would you do that before it's your pick, before you're on the clock? I don't understand why the Steelers were doing that. And there's a video out there of Makai Lemon on the phone with the Steelers, and the Eagles are calling him, and he says, hey, why are the Eagles calling me? They just traded up. It is one of the most shocking things. And to top it all off, I feel bad for Pittsburgh fans because this is just top down. Oh, yeah, no, here, you know what? Play the clip. Play the clip for the people.
Oh, Philly just traded for you.
Hello?
This is Philly. They just traded for you. Philly's taking you right now.
Could you imagine allowing that? Could you imagine allowing that to happen as an organization? That is beyond embarrassing. It's beyond embarrassing. I feel bad for Steelers fans, and then they ended up reaching on a tackle. It's like, you know what? That's just organizational malpractice. Steelers, I feel for you. I feel for you, Steelers fans. Anyways, excited to get into today's show. I got my pick of the day towards the end of the day. I'm cheating a little bit. Dog of the day is not happening today. It's happening on Saturday. But hey, we don't have a show on Saturday, so I'm going to give it out anyways. Before we get into things, this postseason has been a ton of fun, and the best way to bet on the postseason is on FanDuel because it's all about the boosts. Because game day means your chance to boost your bet and make every play pay off. That's right. All customers get a profit boost tonight, so every NBA bucket counts a little bit more. The pace is faster. The game never stops. And with FanDuel, you've got more ways to make every win even bigger. So lock in your bets, boost your odds, and make every night count with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Head over to FanDuel.com/forward-progress to get started. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas affiliates, Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Bonus issues, not withdrawable profit boost tokens. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. All right. I'm excited to get into things. Got a great first guest coming on. We broke down the entire NFL draft last night, watching the first round and the watch along. It was a lot of fun. I'm a little tired today. I'm like reaching unk status right now where it's like past 11 o'clock. It's like, shit, I got to go to bed. Anyways, our first guest here is the inaugural Hammer Fantasy Champion. He's a mock draft and tape grinder, an absolute wizard when it comes to evaluating these prospects, except for one. We'll talk about that a little bit later. G-Stack George, my friend, how's it going?
Very nice to be on with you again, Jason. I must say, I miss doing watch-alongs with you. A lot of people don't like your high volume strategy of jokes, but I like it. And when you land a haymaker, the 10 bad ones before it were worth it for that haymaker.
It really does make up for it. I listen, throw everything at the wall. You see what sticks. I got tons more in the hopper. I honestly can't even say them. So I want to rip some of them behind the scenes with you because I can't say some of them on air there. So, yeah. Anyways, last night was a ton of fun. The watch along was sick. We had almost like 200 people joining us through a draft watch along, which I thought was like pretty insane. Someone wrote an article about how they appreciated our coverage of it, which was great. George, I thought you did a great job. Rob, I thought did a great job as well. I'm obviously biased, but I think the chat agrees. If you were there, it was really good. I want to talk about last night though. So like, what's your like initial reaction to like the totality of the draft? I'm talking like, give me a ranking out of 10 in terms of just pure enjoyment of watching it. Like, I guess not watching the actual draft product, but like experiencing it through Twitter, through real time. What was your rating out of 10 in terms of enjoyment of that? And then give me a rating out of 10 from the betting perspective of things. Where do you think? I want to see how those two things differ for you.
All right. So as a watching perspective, I thought it was a 10 out of 10. I thought there was enough chaos at the beginning. I love doing the watch along format with our audience. That was awesome. I also like it when I like what the Dolphins do in the draft. And I'm not one of those guys who like always flies the flag. We got our guy. So I've been mad about many recent picks. So all of that was very good. From a betting perspective, like a 3 out of 10. And listen, you always play it up to sound worse than it is. I will say this. I said the word right church, wrong pew many times. You know what I was mad about myself, Jason, is like I had put the some of the stuff I had was good process. I just didn't cover enough of the players. So fourth pick, I had the Titans or the fourth overall pick to be Jordan Tyson at like 45-1. And the thinking was like maybe someone tries to jump up in front of the Giants to steal him. But also the Titans still need a receiver. They don't have a true number one. I should have also bet Carnell Tate at 50-1 because they were both in the same price range. So like got the right idea on a position that was being overlooked. Don't get the payday. The same happened at 18. Everybody was like giving Dylan Thieneman to the Minnesota Vikings. And I'm just like, whoa, safeties always like drop. This doesn't make any sense. I gave him Caden McDonald 20-1. In hindsight,
we lost George for a second there. Talking about the 18th overall pick. We'll get George back here in just a second. It seems like he has a little bit of I'm honestly willing to bet that he forgot his charger.
Yeah. I mean, I can't really see it on the software we use here. Normally I like do the battery indicator for you to see it. And sometimes people are like, how do you know that? But yeah, who knows? Tough day here. Off to a rough start.
That's all right. I believe he was talking about the 18th overall pick there.
What were your biggest takeaways though, Jay?
I'll get into that with George. Just want to finish George's thought for him where he had the Vikings taking tackle, but like Caleb Banks was right there and he just didn't consider that. We'll get George back in just a second here. Oh, there we go. We got him back. You want to finish that thought, George, on the 18th overall pick there?
Yeah, so we bet Caden McDonald, defensive tackle, to be pick 20. We were fading like the Dylan Thieneman. Yeah, we were fading Dylan. No, it was pick 18, but it was 20-1. We were fading like the Dylan Thieneman is going to 18 in everybody's mock draft. And like the Vikings lost Jonathan Allen, Javon Hargrave, 2 defensive tackles in the offseason, didn't replace one. In hindsight, knowing how close like the top 3 or 4 tackles were, we should have bet more than just Caden McDonald. So trying to get, I was trying to land a nice plane, but I didn't grab enough options in that hole.
Yeah, you just right airport, wrong runway. I don't know. I'm really digging deep for that one. No, that's kind of the way it is. But like again, it feels like if you were to do that in previous drafts, you might have gotten burned a little bit. But this was felt like again, like we mentioned, Black Swan sort of draft where this might be the way of the future, though. Like everything was super tight and super close to their chest, which kudos to the NFL for doing that.
I think it will be. And you know what? Strong, like sometimes you have to remove your feelings versus the GM feelings. Like there was a lot of smoke about Jeremiah Love, pick 3. Dane Brugler mocked it, and so did Daniel Jeremiah. And some of the Arizona beat writers were also talking about it. I just refuse to believe that they would take a running back with all their holes on their roster at pick 3. I'm like, they have to trade back. They need an O lineman. So like not having any Jeremiah Love at 3 and just refusing to acknowledge that that's a possibility, that's an oversight on my part.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that gets me into my next question. I want to talk about like the biggest winners and losers of day one of the NFL draft. Everyone always hands out draft grades, and we'll talk about a draft grade, which I was actually kind of shocked about after this. But talk me through who your biggest winners and losers are. It feels like I get the Cardinals get a good running back in Jeremiah Love, but again, you get the privilege of paying him as like one of the top 5 running backs in the league, or top 7 running backs in the league, drafting him 3rd overall there. So it feels like it's a loss for them. I'm thinking just spitballing. Rams with Ty Simpson felt like a loss. Texans reaching on Kalen Rutledge felt like a loss. Talk me through who your losers and winners are.
So my winner, it's so odd. I think San Francisco, who doesn't make a pick. Their entire division goes quarterback Ty Simpson, Jeremiah Love, and Jadarian Price too. Like just absolute chaos. San Fran did nothing and benefited. I think Arizona's the biggest loser. We talked about surplus value, Jason. They have to give this guy $50 million guaranteed, highest guaranteed ever given to a running back ever. Like Saquon's contract, highest ever. He's making $12.5 million. The average of the top 5 running backs, Jason, makes $17 million. You're getting barely a surplus of like $4.5 million a year. Whereas if you drafted Arvell Reese, and Arvell Reese played at a top 5 edge rusher level and was getting paid $12.5 million per year, and the top 5 edge rushers like Will Anderson just got $50 million per year, and Micah Parsons going to beat that too. You would be getting like 30 plus million in surplus value versus the 5 million that Arizona is getting right now. It just makes no sense. A team that has no O-line or no quarterback takes a player 3rd overall. Also, I think the New York fan bases should both be happy. I thought they both had outstanding drafts.
Yeah, I wrote them down as my 2 winners here as well. The Jets, the Giants. I also wrote down the Cowboys because I feel like they did a decent job accumulating picks. Yeah, the trade up to get Downs was like kind of silly because they could have gotten one of Downs or Bain, but I don't think like feels like they didn't give up too much. They accumulated a bunch of picks in the draft, so I think that's always a plus sign there. One thing I saw on Twitter. I'm a big fan of the guys over at Underdog NFL. I think they do great work. Josh Norris and oh my gosh, I forget his name now. But anyways, they both do great work there. But they did their first round grades. They had Kenyon Sadiq as an F. It feels like Sadiq has been like the most polarizing pick of the first round in terms of like people loving it and people hating it. I don't really see the hatred for it. I guess it's because they the Jets drafted a tight end in the second round, last year. But yeah, talk me through the Sadiq pick. What are your thoughts on it? Do you feel like an F is like too harsh?
Yes. I had Jets fans. I have a group chat with 3 Jets fans. They were rattled at the pick and then felt a lot better about it when they got Omar Cooper at the end of the first round. So tight ends like perceived, Jason, as like a non-premium position. When we talk about the premium positions, it's quarterback, it's wide receiver, it's offensive tackle, it's edge, it's defensive tackle, and it's cornerback. But when you have a true elite tight end, like Travis Kelce, George Kittle, and Rob Gronkowski, you have a guy that produces at a wide receiver 1 level, but never makes more than half of what a wide receiver 1 makes. It actually is one of those hidden positions where it's not premium, but it creates a large surplus based on what production they give you. I actually really like the pick. The Jets are not going to compete this year, but next year they get to walk a quarterback into a team that's going to have Garrett Wilson, Omar Cooper Jr., A.D. Mitchell. He's going to have Kenyon Sadiq and Mason Taylor, and he's going to have bookend tackles in Fashanu and Olu. Like, I like this situation that the Jets are putting whoever the quarterback is going to be of the future into.
Yeah, the only issue with their situation is their coaching staff, and hopefully they can like. It seems like they're like fine with just like get lame duck head coach Aaron Glenn, build a tanking staff, like, and then just clean house and find a good replacement next year. Hopefully an offensive leaning one, and then they can get a good quarterback. And the Jets could turn this around very quick, but who knows? The Jets find a way to always jet. Shout out, by the way, in the chat, Chosen Sports, because yesterday you mentioned Tape, top 5 pick. Absolutely nailed that one. I'm giving you your flowers. Don't you worry, Chosen Sports. Any other takeaways from the first round? I think one that's sticking with me is I know we talked about the Rams and Ty Simpson here, but just like the way that the Rams use their first round picks this year feels like such a mistake. Like you kind of get like not that you get nothing, but you talk about surplus value. They got like no surplus value at all after getting 2 first-round picks.
Did you see the press conference after of the Rams?
Yes, Sean McVay. It seems like I don't know who. Maybe it was I forget who mentioned it on Twitter. Someone mentioned it on Twitter, but feels like when McVay's out, when Stafford's out, McVay's gone as well. He wants nothing to do with this team the second Stafford leaves.
Yeah, and it sounds like Les Snead is thinking, if I'm going to need a new quarterback and a new coach, I'd rather at least have a quarterback in place. I think there was a disconnect there because Sean McVay does not hide his boo-boo face well. He is not happy about coming away with Ty Simpson. And he was talking about Stafford's the clear guy, and Simpson's gonna have to battle with Stetson Bennett.
Yeah,
get real. And then he's like, he mentioned Jimmy G again. It's like, get over it, brother. You got your quarterback who's gonna be the guy after Stafford. It makes me think that. But here's the thing: this happened before. If you remember, Kyle Shanahan wanted Mac Jones, and John Lynch overruled him, wanted Trey Lance, and it ended up pretty bad in San Fran for Trey Lance.
Well, Shanahan's still sticking around there, so maybe, who knows? We'll see how long McVay wants to stick around. But I feel like McVay, there's no point of sticking around through rebuild. You're a good enough head coach. Just leave and then wait for a good opportunity to present itself if you want to get back into the head coaching gig. Let's talk and flip over to the second round. Let's start with sort of a breakdown of the top 10 picks, the next 10 picks, of the second round. Kind of walk me through who you think could go at each, who the teams are probably targeting. And then after that, we'll dive into some draft props, which are available over on FanDuel.
Okay, I think San Francisco needs an O-lineman, an edge, or a safety. I thought they were going to take Caleb Lomu. Apparently, they had the trade with Miami already negotiated before the draft. And then the second trade was on the fly. I think Chase Besantis makes a ton of sense, offensive guard. If they decide to go with an edge, I think Zion Young or Gabe Yakas make a lot of sense. Or the safety Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, who is very talented, could be in consideration to be the first pick off the board. I think Arizona has a huge problem. They need O-line, but they need a right tackle specifically. I don't think they signed Chase. I don't think they draft Chase Besantis. They signed Isaac Suomalo from the Steelers. So I actually have no idea what they do. Do they reach on a Caleb Tiernan? Do they trade back? I also think they need an edge or a linebacker. I think Jacob Rodriguez could make a ton of sense. And then TJ Parker, Zion Young, those guys, Gabe Yakas, like we mentioned. Buffalo picking 35th, the third pick in the second round. They need defensive tackle help, and they need also some secondary help. I think Caden McDonald makes sense. Kristen Miller, Jacob Rodriguez, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, or maybe even some of the corners, Colton Hood and Jermod McCoy. Vegas is interesting. They got your new quarterback. He needs weapons. He needs an O-line. Is it Denzel Boston? Is it Chase Besantis? They also have not had a defensive tackle since Christian Wilkins mysteriously got kicked off the team, and we'd still don't know what
we need Pablo Torre on
Where's
that.
Pablo Torre, go investigate that, man. A guy was an all-pro 2 years ago. He's 28 years old, and nobody wants to sign him for a vet minimum. What did he do in that locker room?
Maybe it's after the Rossini story that he's covering right now. We'll see. He's usually tapped in. Anyways, keep going.
Giants, they still need a receiver. Denzel Boston makes a ton of sense. They passed on Sonny Styles. A linebacker, Jacob Rodriguez, makes a ton of sense. And if they do want a safety, they were linked to Caleb Downs. I don't think Emmanuel McNeil-Warren will be there, but maybe Trey Dan Stukes will be interesting. Houston, maybe running back, maybe my boy Mike Washington Jr. I don't think so. I think you can take a running back in round 3. I think they could be interested in a Denzel Boston, Jeremy Bernard, but I also think a couple of the defensive tackles we've already talked about make a lot of sense for Houston there. Cleveland, they have it's sneaky, not immediate needs, but if they're going to move on from Myles Garrett, maybe they draft one of the edge rushers here in Parker, Zion Young, Gabe Yakas. If they start thinking Denzel Ward has got concussion history, big contract, they don't have a third corner, maybe the Colton Hood, McCoy, Avion Terrell, D'Angelo Pons might make sense. Kansas City is very interesting. I think so. We've heard reports, Jason, that the top 3 teams have been fielding trade calls. And I think that's someone coming up for Denzel Boston to jump ahead of Las Vegas and the Giants. And I think Kansas City makes a ton of sense for Denzel Boston. If they don't and they stick and pick, I think he's gone. Jeremy Bernard might be the option. And they still need corners. They lost all their secondary. Colton Hood, Jermod McCoy, Avion Terrell, D'Angelo Pons, Keontae Scott all fit there. Cincinnati, I think they could use interior O-line, and Jeff Feinberg doesn't want to lose any guards off the board. Chase Basant is probably gone, but like Emmanuel Pregnon and Jennings Dunker will both be available. I also think they need linebacker help. Check this, Jason. PFF had their top 3 linebackers in Cincinnati were ranked like 83rd, 85th, and 88th out of 88 qualifying players. They had like the 3 of the 5 worst linebackers in the league. They were brutal. I think they need somebody in the middle of the defense. I think Jacob Rodriguez, CJ Allen, Jake Golday, all those are in play. And I think New Orleans still has all the D-line needs. They ended up going with Jordan Tyson, which I'm excited about, but they could use defensive tackle and edge. I think maybe a Christian Miller might make sense there, or even a corner.
Yeah, no, they need to definitely juice up their defensive line a bit. I like you said, that was a great pick on Tyson, because like your strengths are your coaching staff. Kellen Moore can get a lot of that offense, so like get someone who can help build towards that. I wanted to quickly touch on what you mentioned there with Kansas City, the need for cornerback after they drafted Mansour Delane. Their GM gave a press conference, and one thing that stuck out to me, they said once Carnell Tate was off the board, then we knew he was our guy. So that screams, like you mentioned there, they want to trade up. They want to get a wide receiver. That's a big need for them internally. So let's talk through a couple of the available markets right now on FanDuel. Atlanta, first position to be taken. Cincinnati, first position to be taken. Talk me through these two.
Okay, I actually really like this market because right now the chalk favorite for Atlanta is like D-line or edge, but I think part of that was baking in James Pierce Jr., who's kind of like getting off the hook a bit.
Yep.
They're also like giving them wide receiver because they technically, but they signed a bunch of little guys for like 1-year deals. I actually think 2 sneaky good beefy prices. I like the price at linebacker plus 650 and cornerback plus 750. Both are gigantic needs. AJ Terrell's 28, but like starting to decline. Mike Hughes is their number 2 corner, nearly 30. Their backups are not good at all. I think corner, and there's a lot of good corners in round 2 with round 2 grades. Makes a ton of sense. At linebacker, after Divine Diablo, they have nothing. If you remember, Atlanta was terrible against the run. And when he was out on the IR for those 4 or 5 weeks, everybody ran it down their throat. Like, remember the Jonathan Taylor running it down their throat? Miami, Miami beat them without Divine Diablo as well, straight up. I think there's some good linebackers in the range. Jacob Rodriguez probably off the board, but CJ Allen, Jake Golday, Kyle Lewis, Josiah Trotter. I like both those prices. Cornerback plus 750, linebacker plus 650.
That's for the position of Atlanta Falcons' first drafted player. We just touched on Cincinnati when you were breaking down who they were going to take at the 41 spot. Looking at the position of Cincinnati Bengals' first player drafted right now, cornerback plus 210. Is that where you want to go, or are you looking somewhere else?
So corner, it's absolutely the deserved favorite.
Yes.
But I think what we talked about, their linebackers being
yes.
3 of the worst. Plus 500 is interesting, and there's so many good. I know they spent a 2nd-round pick last year on Demetrius Knight, but there are so many good linebackers in their range. I'm very tempted at the plus 500.
All right, let's take a stab at the plus 500. Then we got a couple other markets on FanDuel. Like let's talk player. Team to draft Denzel Boston. It seems like you probably like, if I'm reading the tea leaves here, Kansas City Chiefs to take him at plus 900. Right now, Buffalo Bills plus 310, Raiders plus 410. Raiders doesn't really make sense to me. Niners plus 500, another team that doesn't really make sense to me, and then the Giants plus 600. Is it just Chiefs to take him at plus 900 here, or do you think there's another team that could scoop up Denzel Boston?
I like Giants plus 600 and Chiefs plus 900. If the Chiefs trade up, it's Denzel Boston. And if they don't, then with the Giants, you're just sweating the Raiders before you, because I don't think the Giants would. Like, Giants were so heavily linked to Jordan Tyson, if you remember, at pick 5, and Carnell Tate. I think Denzel Boston makes a ton of sense for them.
Yeah, I don't. Do you think it's that much of a sweat? Do you think the Raiders would really go wide receiver?
The only reason that I think it's a possibility, even though I think O-line's a huge need, They also have third round picks where you can address some of the because there's no right tackle available and the Raiders need a right tackle, Jason. You can take a guard in round 3 and 4. Whereas, are you going to take Chase Besantis for sure? I think defensive tackle is obviously a big need. That being said, I think that's the only sweat. I think it's either the Chiefs trade up or the Giants if he falls into their lap. I really like both those teams.
Giants plus 600, Chiefs plus 900 there. Let's flip over and talk through the player drafted at player to go number X overall pick. We got 33 overall, 34 overall, and 35 overall listed on FanDuel. 33rd overall. Let's lead with that. Denzel Boston leads away plus 380. That's probably baking in the trade up there.
Yeah, it's all the Boston situations. He's like the first favorite to go here and pick 35, and second favorite to go pick 34. Everyone's baking in that everyone thought he'd be a first rounder. I don't like Denzel Boston. I want to preface this. I didn't. If Miami took him at pick 30, I was gonna crash out last night. I don't like Denzel Boston. That
Bad
being
interviews
said,
or what?
So I'm not gonna bet based on where the Chiefs trade up.
Yeah,
I think I think Emmanuel McNeil Warren is very interesting at pick 33. I think Chase Besantis makes a ton of sense for the 49ers, who lost Ben Barch, and it's like they were supposed to take Caleb Lomu. And then I think if they're going to go edge, maybe like a Zion Young plus 1,200 is quite interesting. But I don't love betting this market right now. And usually there's been a couple years where pick 33 was known by draft day. Joey Porter Jr. was a heavy chalk favorite by the time the Steelers picked when they had the top pick in the second round. Same happened with Logan Hall and the Bucks. So watch this market because I think the info will get out before the draft on who's going 33rd.
Yeah. Also, just want to obviously mention this bet responsibly here because a lot of this stuff is correlated, right? It's like if the team to draft Denzel Boston is definitely going to be correlated with the 33rd and the 35th overall pick. Make sure you're not just overloading on the same thing over and over again in different ways. Just be wary of that when you're betting this stuff. 34th overall pick, Chase Besantis. This one seems wide open. Obviously, it's, again, correlated to the 33rd overall pick. Whoever goes there or doesn't go there will probably be more likely to go 34th in terms of the odds. Chase Besantis right now is leading the way at plus 700. Anyone you like here?
I don't like Chase Besantis. I know they need O-line, but I think they need a right tackle. I don't know what Arizona's doing, man. They're just such a dumb team that should have traded up for a right tackle or traded down from 3 and got their right tackle. I want to just fade Chase Besantis because I don't think guard is an immediate need. I think their defense sucked last year. 26th in EPA per play, 32nd in success rate. I like some of the edges like TJ Parker, Zion Young. I also think Jacob Rodriguez at plus 3,300 might be worth a bit of a shot because Mac Wilson is their linebacker, but he also ended the season on IR, and their linebacking core was very thin behind him.
All right, Jacob Rodriguez, as you mentioned there, 33-1. And then finally, let's close out with the 35th overall pick. Who you like?
All right, Denzel Boston is the chalk favorite.
Yes.
I think Buffalo's biggest need is the spine of the defense. Do you remember that Buffalo was basically the dead last worst team, 32nd against the run last year? Everybody ran the ball on them. And I think they need defensive tackles because the Ed Oliver question marks coming off a big injury. I also think their linebackers, they all got old and slow all at once. Matt Milano being cooked. So I'd be looking at the defensive tackles. Caden McDonald plus 600, Kristen Miller plus 1,500. And then I think Jacob Rodriguez, linebacker, plus 950 is also very tempting.
Yeah.
But all of this could be moot if KC trades up and into this spot.
Yeah. You're going to have to be reactionary. Also, you're going to have to bet this stuff because the chances are the second that this goes live or the second we see some steam on that 33rd overall pick, they might take this stuff off the board, especially when the draft goes live, because as we saw, they kind of only had, I'm not sure how many markets they're going to have available here in terms of after the 35th overall pick. So keep an eye on that stuff. G, before you head out, I want to go to a little bit more football, some UFL stuff. What do you got for us here?
The weirdest league I've ever seen, Jason. 3 trades went down this week. 3 starting quarterbacks got traded. The league is owned by one person. A group of people, but basically the same owner. So I don't know, something about balancing rosters to make the games more competitive, getting DTR away from being a backup. So he's starting for the Birmingham Stallions this week. They're playing the DC Defenders right now. DC's favored 6.5 at FanDuel. Totals 45.5. There's sevens out there. That's the only way I would look with Birmingham. The problem is I worry about DTR coming in on like 3 days notice. And I worry about like they don't have their starting running back, Anthony McFarland Jr., and one of his better receivers in Justin Ross. I know some people have given out the Birmingham Stallions. I'm going to stay away and just to see it for 1 week before I make a decision. St. Louis at Orlando. I find this game very interesting. Orlando is favored by 3. Luis Perez, who got traded, he's called the Spring King to St. Louis, will not start this week. They'll take a week, but I like Harrison Frost. They have the best receiver in the UFL. His name's Akeem Butler. A guy has missed a game, Jason, and he still got 331 yards. He averages over 30 yards per catch. He's just this big, tall, fast guy. I think Orlando's overrated. They're undefeated, Jason, but they've played Louisville twice, Columbus, and Birmingham, 3 of like the bottom 4 teams in the league. So they haven't played any of the top 3 teams, and I think this is where they find their level. Just there's some 3.5s out there, so I can't tell you to bet the 3. Although I would bet I like them at 3 as well. St. Louis, I think there's a chance St. Louis wins this outright. So I think this would be the first look that I tell people. Okay. Shop it around. Columbus at Houston, Jason. The Columbus is laying 3.5. I want to take Houston, but I'm waiting on this. I don't know who their quarterback is going to be. It looks like no Hunter Deckers again. I hope it's Nolan Henderson. If it's Talia Tagovailoa, I can't trust him. This is literally the 2 worst defenses in football. Like one team gives up nearly 6 yards per play. Houston's given up like 5.5 yards per play. They both give up more than 3 points per drive. An over is another look I'd look, but I have to wait to find out who the quarterback is. If it is Nolan Henderson, I like Houston plus 3.5, and I like the over 45.5, but all depends on if he's playing. And in the last game, Louisville at Dallas. Dallas is 7.5 point favorites. I think they're the best looking functional offense. I know they lost last week to Columbus, but I think they're the one team that consistently moves the ball very well. And Louisville traded away their quarterback this week, so I actually don't know what their backup quarterbacks look like. So I just have to gather information in this game.
All right, so we're going to stay off that Louisville game. Waiting for the quarterback decision for the Aviators Gamblers game, looking towards the over and the 3.5 there. And then, of course, the only bet that you have is the St. Louis Battlehawks plus 3.5. Shop around for that one. George, what are you looking forward to most on day 2 of draft day?
I am looking forward to the chaos. I'm looking forward to my guys. So I wrote an article about like day 2 guys that I love. I want to see where they go. I have crushes on guys, and I want to see where Mike Washington goes. That is interesting to me, and of course I want to see what Miami does. And then, listen, we might have some trades. George Pickens is still in the air. The Giants have 4 pass rushers now. I know they say they're not going to trade Kayvon Thibodeau. I don't believe them. I think they're just holding out for better leverage. So maybe we see some trades today with real players involved.
Yeah, we know the AJ Brown trade is in the pipeline as well. Can you designate a trade like post June? Like I know you can't do that. You actually have physically have to wait.
Plus, I think the Eagles want the 2027 first round pick.
Okay.
So that, but they're also there's rumors that they've got a Danielle Hunter trade done as well. And I don't know if that's going to be this year's draft capital or not. So there's a
lot of moving parts. I saw that. I saw someone mention that on Twitter where it's like, is this breaking? Am I breaking this right now? He's like, his podcast was like, yeah, you're kind of breaking this. No one knows about this. So we'll see what comes out of that. George, appreciate you joining the show. Appreciate the knowledge on the draft and the UFL. We'll talk soon.
Yes, sir. You have a great weekend.
Great stuff there from George. As always, you can follow George on Twitter at George Silfides, GStack George. Also, make sure you jump in the Discord because I'm sure George will be dropping stuff in there. If not, he'll be writing articles, and you can find those at thehammer.bet. All right. We got our next guest coming on in just a second. Before we do that, just want to mention our quick friends over at BetStamp Pro, because if you're still toggling between sportsbooks and you're trying to figure out where to find the best number available, you're giving up your edge before you can even place your bet. BetStamp Pro pulls real-time odds for over 200 sportsbook Sportsbooks, regulated offshore, PPHs, exchanges, and prediction markets all on the screen with sub-second latency. But the real advantage is BetStamp Pro's True Line. It's a proprietary algorithm that aggregates the sharpest sportsbooks to calculate what the real number should be. You're not just seeing odds, you're seeing what the edge actually is. Sort by EV, filter by hold, and identify off-market lines in seconds as they appear. This is the same tool that pro bettors use to scale their profits. Head over to betstamp.com/hammer and get a 14-day free trial to see the full main market screen for yourself. The link is in the description. Also, you can scan the QR code on screen. That's betstamp.com/hammer for a 14-day free trial. And as I'm doing this, I'm just going to quickly pull up some BetStamp. Here we go. We got Colin Murray Boyles points over 10.5 minus 102. That is the best price in market. If you wanted to bet on Colin Murray Boyles points, you found the best price in market in literally 2 seconds. That's how long. By the time I ended that ad read to now is how quickly I pulled this up. So if you're looking for that, if you want to maximize your edge there, make sure you check out BetStamp Pro, betstamp.com/hammer. All right. Our second guest, our last guest. I'm excited to do this because it's probably the best way to end the Friday of this lovely week. He is a massive trading card collector. He's a very sharp futures bettor. He's my white whale, my Moby Dick. I'm beyond ecstatic to have this man on the show. I'm honored to have him on the show. Bortolucci himself. Bo, how is it going, my friend? Do we got him? Uh-oh. He's in the background, but we can't hear him right now. We can work through this thing. I have a lot of questions for him. Maybe we'll try and pull him in. Maybe take him out, pull him in again. Got a couple questions for him. Main thing I want to lead with is he tweets a lot about him and I have some very overlapping interests, and we'll talk about some AL Rookie of the Year stuff, NL Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, Hart, Conn Smythe, all of that. We have overlapping interests here. The biggest thing for me is that he's a big David Lynch fan, and I am as well. And I can't wait to ask him about this. Bortolucci, he's coming on right now. Let's get him in here. Bo, how's it
Jason,
going?
can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're good to go.
Oh, great. I was worried there for a second.
No, you're good. You're firing. You're good to go. How's it going?
I'm doing well. Certainly better now that you're here.
I appreciate that. I'm sorry that I had to subject you to Alex Moretto for an extravaganza, but I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you making your second media hit here at the Hammer. Before we get into things, you tweeted a lot about the David Lynch estate auction months ago. Was that years ago? I don't remember. It feels like it was months ago. Were you able to pick anything up from that? I had to ask.
No. Some of that stuff just got way out of hand.
Yeah, no, I was looking at the director's
And
share.
apparently the closing fees were as high as like 50%.
Holy shit, okay.
So like if you bought a $10,000 item, depending on the size, you might have had to pay $6,000 just to get it to you.
All right, that is absurd. I honestly zeroed in on the chair, and I saw it was going for like $25,000. I'm like, yeah, no shot. Can't get
Which
that.
chair? Was that his office chair?
No, the director's chair where it had his name
Oh,
on it.
right.
That
Yeah,
was sick.
yeah.
That was sick.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's flip over your favorite card from the Twin Peaks trading card set.
My favorite card?
Yeah.
Well, it's not one that I have, unfortunately, but it's got to be the David Lynch, Kyle McLaughlin dual auto.
Incredible. That's your grail. That's what we were looking for here.
Yeah, it's never up on eBay though.
You got
Not since his death.
Really? Wow. All right.
Yeah, no.
All right. Well, I got to buy some packs and rip it then. Let's work our way towards it, and the best way to work our way towards is by winning some futures bets. Let's start with touching on some baseball here. The Rookie of the Year market, looking towards the AL Rookie of the Year. Munetaka Murikama has been absolutely like raking. He had like 5 games in a row with a home run. Incredible stuff there. Just pure mashing. Jumped the Lauder, jumped McGonigal. He's around plus 185 right now. It's a pretty stat class here in the AL. Still super early though. We're not even 10% way through the season. You wanted to talk about this. Tell me who you like here.
Jason, we need to talk about Kevin, the 21-year-old kid from Alden, Pennsylvania, the Monsignor Bonner and Archbishop Pendergast Catholic High School graduate, Kevin Patrick McGonigal. Anybody you ask, he's either a 4 or 5 tool player. For those new to baseball, I know we have a lot of hockey people listening. That's hitting for average, power, base running, fielding, and throwing. He's basically Paul Molitor 2.0, depending on who you ask. And Jason, I know you're too young to remember Paul, but those bats would last till Kingdom Come. And then suddenly he'd be on base. And then he'd be rounding third. And then he'd be in the dugout getting his glove ready to go do some really brilliant infield things. That's Kevin McGonigal. And I'm still seeing some plus 270s around that I think are decent. I'm not sure. What is the FanDuel price? Is it 200?
Plus 200, yes.
200? I don't know about 200.
Mm-hmm. So
Maybe stay out for now at 200, but I definitely took some between 275 and 350.
Okay. All right. Kevin McGonigal.
Like you said, though, it's such a strong field.
Yes.
I know friend of the show, Bitcoin Barry Horse.
Yeah.
He was touting Chase DeLauder in this market, but I think he's just going to get badly warmogged by McGonigal and others at this point.
Yeah, no, and I don't really know too much about the voting process for Rookie of the Year. Do like our baseball voters are woke? They understand what WAR is.
They do, yeah,
Okay,
increasingly. Yeah, it's 30 voters, 2 from each league's team. So there'll be like 2 Jays writers, 2 Orioles, etc.
All right, cool. McGonigal, we're looking at the plus 270, plus 350 range. If it's not there right now, like the way that Murakami,
I think he should be favored.
yeah,
I think he's more likely than Murakami.
All right, Murakami's been so hot right now, though, which is probably affecting his price. So maybe if he can stay hot a little bit, Murakami, you can get a better price on McGonigal. We're buying him until he is the favorite, it sounds like here. Plus 270 is what we're looking for. Let's flip over and talk NL Rookie of the Year. Sal Stewart leads the way. But this feels like it's a 2-horse race right now. But again, it's so early in the season that the back of the board could do a lot of work in catching up between Sal Stewart and Nolan McLean. Sal Stewart right now plus 140, Nolan McLean plus 250. Are you looking towards either of those guys?
At these prices, probably not. But I'm also not looking towards anyone else. I think I would have both of these guys taking up maybe 80% of the market at this point.
Mm-hmm.
One guy who's potentially interesting is Moises Ballesteros, but he's been DHing a lot and getting used for maybe 2 at-bats per game. So I just don't know how he gets there unless things are really going to change. What's the Nolan McLean price at FanDuel?
Nolan McLean is plus 250 at FanDuel.
I think you could make the case that he should be favored above Sal Stewart.
Interesting.
Yeah, because when I look at my projections, a mix of my projections, some of the public projections, and some private data that I've been sent, there's like a 1 in 3 chance that Nolan McLean just has a better season than Paul Skeens.
Wow.
And Paul Skeens might win the NL Cy Young. So he's that good.
Yeah, we know how hard it is for pitchers to win Rookie of the Year, but it sounds like there's a chance that he could be undeniable in terms of his production here. Also, Matt Falk in the chat, hopefully I pronounced that right. Sorry, Matt. Making a great case towards why McGonigal has a better chance to win Rookie of the Year maybe than Murakami, because he's just saying voters really never want to give Japanese guys Rookie of the Year. They're not really true rookies, right? Murakami's like how old? 26, 27, 28?
Yeah, 26.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, they need to be undeniable for that. And with how good the field is, it might not get there. So
Definitely.
All right. So Nolan McLean plus 250. McGonigal, we're looking for that plus 270 range. 250 you can get on FanDuel for Nolan McLean here. Cy Young. Right now, let's go to the NL first. You mentioned him, Paul Skeens, plus 200 right now. Reading the tea leaves, is this like a Nolan McLean Cy Young as well here, or is that too crazy? I see Mason Miller 16-1, which is absolutely insane to me, which makes me think that there's more value. There's value to be found in the NL Cy Young race. Talk me through this.
Yeah, I missed the boat on those Mason Miller prices. I looked at it at 100-1, thought about it, didn't bet it. 80-1, thought about it, didn't bet it. Then all the way down, just never pulled the trigger on him. But he can absolutely win it. With that K rate, if he keeps that ERA low, blows maybe 1 or 2 saves max, and he'll get hit.
Yeah,
he'll give up a couple home runs, but if there's no one on base when he gives those up, that ERA is only going to go so high, right?
Yeah, no, that's very true. Yeah,
but yeah, yeah, you can't play it at 16-1.
Too short, too hard for a relief pitcher to win. But it's like honestly undeniable that he's one of the best pitchers like alive right now on the planet. I wonder if he'll ever make the jump to be a starting pitcher, but that remains to be seen. Because I remember when he was with Oakland, they were talking about him being a starter. Then they had him in the bullpen to start the year, and he was just so undeniably good as their closer. They just kept him there. So yeah, who do you like in terms of this? Is not Mason Miller, obviously. Is there anyone you like, or is this about right?
I think is he plus 1100 at FanDuel?
11-1, yeah, at FanDuel.
11-1.
Yeah.
I think Ohtani, other than Paul Skeens, I would say Ohtani's probably the most likely. Yamamoto, he's like plus 320?
Plus 320, yeah.
I think Ohtani's more likely than Yamamoto. I think he's a better pitcher. I think the Dodgers are going to let Ohtani hit that 160 to 170 innings range. A couple years ago, Ohtani made it a point that he wanted to go 50-50. He went 50-50. This year, I think he said to the Japanese media that he wants to contend for the Cy Young.
Wow.
So if he wants to go for it, I don't think that's being priced in nearly enough. That he's going to get. Like, you look at Fangraphs right now, I think they have him at 130 innings. Unless he gets hurt, I don't think he's pitching only 130 innings.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great way to look at it as well. Also, like, it's so hard to factor in, like I'm sure you can handicap like injuries to this stuff, but like every pitcher has like such a high injury risk. It's almost like you can factor in equally for everyone. So Ohtani 11-1 sounds like a great bet there. I love the digging into the Japanese media there. That's like almost like a hidden edge. Like you're looking.
Oh yeah, I'm always translating.
I love it. Google Translate on Overdrive. Are you rocking Duolingo Japanese? Is that a thing for you or no?
No.
Just using the Google.
Maybe it should be, but no, not yet.
All right, let's flip over and talk AL Cy Young. Tariq Skubal leads the way, but like, talk to me about our Blue Jays. Talk to me about Dylan Cease, who's been, kind of an absolute throwing some absolute heaters. Right now, plus 850. Is that who you're looking towards? Or you're looking somewhere else on this board?
No, I like Cease. The K rate's good, but there's just his priors. I'm not sure I can advocate for a play at 850 at all. Who I'm looking at is Jose Soriano of the LA Angels. He's off to one of the best starts in the history of the game. Jason, have you seen this flamethrower? He went up against our Jays just 2 days ago?
Yep.
Was that your first look at him?
Yeah, he looked really good.
Yeah, and he's got a 99 fastball. He can dot it anywhere he likes. Then he'll sit you down with a knuckle curve that lands a foot in front of the plate. It's ridiculous at this point. So far, he has one earned run in 37.2 innings while being top 3 in strikeouts, and he's already gone up against some very good lineups. Just looking at these lineups, he's gone against the Astros, Cubs, Braves, Reds, Padres, and Jays. I haven't looked into it, but I'd be very surprised if that isn't the toughest schedule a starting pitcher has faced so far. And look, it's only April 24th, right? It's early still. But let's look into the numbers a little bit more. He's already at 38 innings, and that's 25% of the way to being a qualified pitcher, which is 162 innings. So 25% is already at a 0.24 ERA. Let's say the next 75% is even a 3 ERA, which a 3 ERA is still much better than he had last year. He was not good at all in August and September last year. But let's say he's made some changes this year, and he has. His stance on the mound is different. He looks to be throwing more strikes. His walk rate is way down. Let's say that next 75%, that's going to take him to that 162 innings mark. Let's say it's even a 3 ERA. Combine the two, and he'd be at about a 2.30, which I would project to be about 50% to be the lowest ERA mark in the American League. And then anything better than a 3 ERA the rest of the way, and you might be looking at last year's Paul Skeens numbers. So I think this start, and his price has come down a ton. He was 100-1 at the start of the season. So 8-1, is it 8-1, 7-1?
7-1 right now at FanDuel.
7-1, that's 12.5%. Yeah, I'd say he has about a 1 in 5 chance at this point.
All right, I love it. 1 in 5 chance. I wonder, does that also bake in, like, I don't want to call it like award fatigue for Tariq Skubal, but like he's kind of already won before.
Oh, definitely that's something that's in his favor. I think if it's at all close towards the end, there'll be an appetite to not give Skubal a third.
Yeah. Like he's gotten his flowers, Tariq Skubal. Soriano is such a good story with him. You know, this sort of coming out of nowhere. It seems like.
I think there's two guys that if they have the lowest ERA in each league, and they pitch 162 plus innings, I think they'll win, and it's Ohtani and Soriano.
All right, that's sweet.
Lowest ERA gets it done. There's other ways to get it done, but that's one clear way. Either one of those two guys, I think, can become an undeniable winner.
I know you're a bit of a sicko here, Bo. You can get Soriano, Ohtani. You can parlay them together at just around 100 to 1. So if you're feeling super sicko mode,
Oh, why not?
and you're gonna bet both of them,
And now
why
that
not
you've
bet both
mentioned
of
it,
them
you have to do it. You have to do it now.
If you're gonna bet
100 to
both of them,
1?
you might as well sprinkle a little bit on both of them together. Yeah, 95 to 1 on FanDuel.
95?
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Let's
get
it.
after that.
All right, we're going to clip this and post it at the end of the year when both win the Cy Young. Let's flip over and talk some hockey talk, some award talk, because I was suspended for a little bit here. And the Hart Trophy just kind of got away from me. What the hell happened? Connor McDavid. All of a sudden, minus 108 to win the Hart. Where did he come from? McKinnon, you were supposed to be minus 130. Now he's plus 210. Are you still adding McKinnon to the portfolio? Are you adding Kucherov to the portfolio? Is Connor too short at the minus 108? Where are you looking for the Hart Trophy?
Well, first, I just want to give a shout out to friend of the show, senior trader at FanDuel, Sarah Barshap, aka Bar Sharp, for putting odds back up. I thought once the odds went down the day after the season, I didn't think they'd be going back up, but they're back up now, right?
Yep, they're
Only at FanDuel.
Only at FanDuel.
So what do I think based on these prices? McKinnon, I'm very confident McKinnon did not win at this point.
Okay.
Whether he deserves to or not is another thing, but so I think you could just take your choice. If you don't have any bets in this market, either bet McDavid minus 108 or take the 310 on Kucherov.
Interesting.
I think one of those is a winner. I would maybe slightly lean towards Kucherov. I think he might have more than a 50% chance of winning right now.
Yeah, and at the plus 310 there, it seems like it's a little. Yeah,
Did you happen to see that the Athletic poll of 30 of their writers on who will win, not who should win? It was who will win that came out this week. Did you get a chance to see that?
I did not.
It was 30 of their writers, and some of them are voters. I'm not sure how many, but some are. And McKinnon led that with 13 out of the 30. 43% said that McKinnon will win. And then I think another maybe 7 said, no, 7? I don't know. I don't know. It was Kucherov next and then McDavid.
Interesting. This
so I don't know what can be taken from that. Maybe not a lot, but it's certainly interesting, right?
It's definitely a bit of a wrinkle. My head is in such a pretzel. I just remember McDavid in like March, like late March. He was like 10 to 1, 20 to 1 at one point. Like
it was that 5-point game.
Yeah.
The 5-point game did everything.
Completely turned it around from it. It's just
well, not just the 5-point game. I think no Draisaitl created the conditions for him to be viewed as most valuable.
Yeah.
Because he came up from behind to win the Art Ross without Draisaitl. And he's the best player.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I don't think we'll ever like we talked about voter fatigue with Skubal. I don't think you'll ever get voter fatigue with Connor McDavid because he just leaps and bounds above.
Well, you would hope not, because when's the last time he even won it? He hasn't even been winning it lately.
Yeah, you're right.
This would be his 3rd year without winning it. I don't get where this fatigue comes from. What I think maybe what it is people are tired of him losing in finals and still being MVP.
Yes.
Between the Conn Smythe and the Olympics.
Yeah.
But that's not the Hart.
Yeah. I think he's lost a little bit of that equity as well in the Conn Smythe Awards, which we'll talk about and flip over to that because you want to talk about the Conn Smythe Awards. It seems,
yes, I do.
It seems like I don't know if you were like you sent me something and it's moved since then. So I don't know if it was.
It might not have moved at the place I sent it to you, but we can't. We're not going to talk about that.
We'll still talk about it here.
Yeah, we just won't talk about the price.
Okay, so quickly.
Necessarily.
So you have your guy who you like for Conn Smythe. I mentioned yesterday Leon yesterday Leon Draisaitl at 40-1. Is that interesting to you at all, the Leon Draisaitl 40-1? I feel like he has a little bit more equity than he's given credit for in the market compared to McDavid at 22-1.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with how that series has started. What's Draisaitl? Draisaitl's at 4 points, I think.
Yeah.
A goal and 3 assists.
Mhm.
Yeah, and he's just looked great out there. He's looking like a mix of a prime Austin Matthews and Val Nichushkin.
Absolute
Just
dog.
a great player mix going on there with Leon.
Yeah, and pair that with the McDavid injury. Obviously, he'll turn it on. Like if they make it further, they'll
Yeah, but
turn it
no,
on a little bit.
40-1. Yeah, on a team that it's only going to be one of 2 guys.
Yes.
So, yeah,
All right.
I think 40-1's good.
All right, you're giving me the okay on 40-1. Then we'll flip over and talk the one that you like here, Frederik Andersen.
Oh yeah, steady Freddy.
Listen, as a Leafs fan, as someone from Toronto, Bo, you should know what you're getting into when you back Frederik Andersen here. But you like him. The numbers there, I get it. But talk me through it.
Well, look at his start. He's 3-0. He's about to be in the second round against the Flyers, which I can't see them losing to the Flyers. Can you?
No, I can't.
When I model it out, I have the Hurricanes at 79%, I think.
Mhm.
And even that might seem a bit light. I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't see if the Flyers getting past them.
Yeah, no, it's going to be.
That seems like Canes in 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, so between the 3-0 start, he's already stopped 31 of 32 slot shots, I think. He's got an under 1 goals against average, like a 965 save percentage. You mix that in with what next series is going to be. Maybe Montreal or Buffalo takes care of Tampa.
Mm.
I don't see, if Tampa's out, I don't see Carolina not being in the Cup final.
The path is absolutely there for them, and we've been talking.
Yeah. So what is it that you don't like about Freddie? Fredzilla.
I don't know. I feel like I think the first round performance is going to be his best performance in terms of like underlying metrics. We'll call it advanced analytics. I think the Ottawa Senators, much like the Carolina Hurricanes, are like I don't want to call them XG merchants, but they're kind of XG merchants. Like they get a lot of shots in the slot, which are good, but it doesn't feel like they're true quality chances. And I think they're slightly overrated in terms of the expected goals. The rating that expected goals gives them in terms of converting those chances to goals. That's my only stick up.
Yeah, that's fair. I think one thing that could both help and hurt Freddie in terms of Conn Smythe is that by now the Hurricanes know they can't play him every playoff game. He just cannot handle that workload. So I think there's a very good chance that even if they were to win the Cup, that he does not play every game in each series.
Wow.
Like I don't think he's going to be the game 4 starter.
Whoa. So
yeah, I'll put that out right now because over the last 2 playoffs, Rod Brindamore has said that they've observed that if Freddie plays too many games in too few days, that performance just falls off a cliff. And so now up 3-0. This is the only game you can rest him if you're going to rest him in this series. You can't play him and then take him out. Well, I guess you could. It would be 3-1. Then you put him in for the last 2. But I think he gets a rest. Is it tomorrow?
I think it's tomorrow. Yeah.
I think he gets the game off.
Okay, so talk me through this right now. If he gets the game off, though, wouldn't you just want to wait? Would you want to wait for him to get the game off? Like almost wait an hour before puck drop and then start hammering him if he gets the game off? Because you have to think his price would come down a bit. Like it might get
well,
a
the thing is,
better.
I've already been hammering him. The price is already going to come down.
All right. Good point there. But
yeah, I get what you're saying. Ideally, that would be the case, but yeah. But no, he could play game 4, but then I think he gets game 5 off.
Yeah,
he's not playing. He's not playing every game.
Interesting.
Yeah,
and
but if not playing every game allows him to perform better and avoid those 4 or 5 goals against games, then I don't see that hurting his chances. Especially you look, how's that top line in Carolina doing so far points wise? Not much, right?
No, they're more of the shutdown line. It seems like.
Yeah, and it's Blake.
Stankoven.
Who's on that second line? Blake,
Stankoven,
Hall, and Stankoven.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going off. I think Stankoven's at 3 goals, 1 assist. Hall's at, I don't know, 5 points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but I don't see either of those guys being there in the end as the Conn Smythe winner for that team. You would think it's Aho or Freddie, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Jarvis.
Yeah.
That's certainly what the market thinks.
The equity is there for in terms of, like you mentioned, the Canes to win the cup. They're priced right now to win the cup versus Freddie's equity when they do win the cup. Like Freddie's equity.
What is the Canes Cup price at FanDuel?
It's
is it right around
insane. Plus
400,
plus 340.
Plus 340. Okay, I have them at 20.2%, so like plus 398 or something. So yeah, so if Freddie is, say, well, there are 30 to 1s out there, not at FanDuel, but say, just for discussion's sake, let's say Freddie's 3,000 out there, and Canes, both the market and my modeling, let's just say plus 400. That's basically saying even if the Canes win, Freddie is still plus 500. How is Freddie only plus 500?
Yeah, it seems
he's the single most likely person for the Canes entering today, I would say.
All right,
and that can change quickly. But I think it's a no-brainer. Freddie Andersen, Conn Smythe.
All right, I love it. Listen, you talked me into it.
I think even, is it 1,900 at FanDuel?
1,500, 15 to 1.
Oh, 15 now.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's been moving.
Yeah, I would say shop around because there's plus 2,000s to plus 3,000s.
Shop around. Also consider maybe like shop around. If you can't shop around, wait a little bit because the what you mentioned there, where he might not start game 4, it's kind of an interesting thing because the Canes are scheduled to play at 3, and the Flyers are scheduled to play at 8. So it's like almost like if those two things were flipped, the Canes would have had much more clarity on their next round when they'd be playing their next games, and maybe they don't rest Freddie Andersen. They close out the series in 4 if Pittsburgh wins, and then Freddie Andersen gets his rest, but he might not have the time to get his rest in between then. So right. Interesting stuff there. A couple questions in the chat that I want to get to before you head out here. Okay. Let me try and find it. It was Ricky Pucks talking about a draft future. I don't know if I agree with him on this, but he said Gavin McKenna is like minus 300 to go first overall. If Vancouver gets the pick, that's very likely, but if they don't, that number should get knocked down a bit. What's your opinion, on Gavin McKenna at minus 300?
I'm not much of a draft guy, I must say, but I don't know. From what I've seen, I think it's just a foregone conclusion he's going number 1.
Interesting. Okay.
I did bet some at minus 165 a while ago. But not too much research into it.
Yeah. No, those are just good numbers there. All right, Bo, this is just a question for you before you head out here. Leafs to be awarded a top 5 pick in the NHL draft lottery on FanDuel. Right now, their probability of not picking the top 5 is 58.2%, which is minus 139. The no on FanDuel is minus 140. Should I life hedge this? Take the slight little bit of minus EV there, that 0.1% of minus EV, to just kind of like if the Leafs end up losing their first round pick, I can at least get a little bit of money out of it.
So it's the 1 cent edge? That's what you're saying?
No. I'm losing a cent of value basically on the true probability.
Oh, so it's not an edge. The bet is not an edge.
No, not an edge. But it's a life hedge.
Okay. Oh, so then that's perfect for the account. A life hedge, and it's a bad bet. Perfect for the account health. Perfect for your health. What's not to like? Go have at it.
I might have to click that a little bit. Bo, appreciate you joining the show, my white whale, the Moby Dick. I appreciate you coming on. Can't wait to have you on in the future. Thank you for sharing this knowledge. And yeah, we'll chat soon.
Thank you. Definitely.
Great stuff there from Bordelucci. You can follow him on Twitter at Bordelucci.
No, it's English Math
PhD on Twitter. Oh my goodness. I forgot that he absolutely body bagged Rob Series. What a great show today. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We went a little long. Shout out to both. I'm so happy we brought him on. What a great segment.
He knows his stuff.
Am I going to give us some player props for tonight? No, I'm not, but I'm going to cheat and give you a play for tomorrow. We already have a play for tonight. We're fading Kirk Evans. He gave out the Rockets minus 10.5 on the show yesterday. He said if it doesn't move, if they don't get CLV, then guess what? It's a bad bet. So we are fading him. We're taking the Lakers money line. Lakers plus 10.5. And then for the real dog of the day, again, the dog of the day tomorrow because it's a Saturday game. But again, this is what I like here. Cheating a little bit. We're looking towards Saturday. We're going to take Dallas right now at plus 115. You could wait a little bit. You might get a better number. It seems like Minnesota's been steaming closer to close here. And yeah, I'm shoving my face into the market. I might get burned by it. But I think Dallas did such a great job at denying slot chances last game. I love Ottinger as a goalie. I think he has the ability to elevate his game and can play really well. He has his warts, but when he's on, he's on. This Dallas team is really scary. They can score. Minnesota without Matt Zuccarello takes a little bit of a hit here. Give me that plus 115 on the Dallas money line. All right. Sounds like it's raining. Appreciate you guys for tuning in today. Shout out to Bo. Shout out to our good friend G-Stack George for coming on and breaking down the entire draft. I'm trying to see if I missed anything in the chat. I don't think I did. Do us a huge favor, guys. Smash the like button. Goes a long way here on the channel. If you're new to the channel as well, hit that subscribe button. Comment down below. Wait till after this. If you're watching this live, wait till after the video. If you're not watching live, drop a comment down below right now. Let me know what you're betting for this weekend because I'm curious to see. Maybe we can get some sweats in. Join our Discord at discord.gg/hammer. We've been posting some bets in there. Ton of fun there. And that's it. That wraps up today's show. Just do us a huge favor. If you haven't subscribed already, 50% of the people watching these videos do not subscribe. So if you can, please hit that subscribe button. I feel like if you made it this far, we've kind of earned the subscription there. All right. Appreciate Bo. Appreciate George. Appreciate Mike. Keeping things clean behind the scenes. Appreciate you guys for sticking with us all the way through. That's it. That wraps up today's show. I'm Jason. This has been the Friday, April 24th edition of the Hammer Daily here on the Hammer Bank Network, presented by our good friends over at FanDuel. We will see you guys right here next week.